have Bob Haas here, who's going to be one of the presenters.
Okay, well, thank you so much for this. What I decided to do this time and I've done a number of lucid talks, but I've discovered some things about the nature of the light and wisdom that is behind all dreams over time. And I realized with lucidity, you have quite an interesting, powerful portal into that wisdom and almost a direct connection with it. So what my talk is going to be about, it's called Dreaming Between Worlds, which is related to, at a certain level of lucid dreaming, you're actually able to touch and enter these other basic dimensions and other worlds. But I also call it when soul dreams. And what I've discovered, and I've given a couple presentations on this keynote last year with another organization, is that this wisdom that seems to be within our dreams, even the most mundane metaphors that come from your basic dreaming brain, the wisdom comes out depending on what is actually doing the dreaming, what level of your existence is doing dreaming, whether it's body, mind, or spirit. And your brain is basically a problem-solving machine. So it's there to provide dreams that help to resolve the problems of the day. And this wisdom comes through in that process by providing all sorts of alternatives, ways of looking at the situation. It comes out in metaphors and stuff. But what I found is that, as one goes from the body to the mind dreaming, which in Jungian context has to do with part of the mind, he called it the psyche. That basically helps to integrate you as a whole individual, bring you into becoming or transforming into the individual that you were meant to be. But then there's another layer of dreaming, which really becomes obvious in lucid dreaming, and that is, that's why I call it when soul dreams. It's as if that higher aspect of self suddenly is what's there doing the dreaming. It comes out in visitations a lot, or a person in a lucid dream might meet a friend who has just passed on. And in my own experience, when that's happened to me, a number of friends or family that have passed on, when I meet them in the dream, it's not like a normal grieving dream where you do pull the individual in as memories and to deal with your grieving process. But the integration and the meeting of that person again in the other world is like two souls merging. It becomes electric, intense, like an experience you just can't even explain in waking life or even experience. So I'm going to talk a little bit how to go through those levels and then provide a personal experience, which is blew my mind. I had no idea that this could happen. And so, I'll share a couple of those experiences if you like.
Yeah, that would be great if you could give us a little snippet on what to expect without giving away too much of the secrets.
Yeah, okay. Well, just the basic, experiences a lot of people have in lucid dreaming with, the other, connecting with the other side. One is kind of a joyful one. It's not mine, but I'll tell it anyway to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Is this woman was in the midst of a lucid dream where she was floating in the clouds with her mother who had just passed on. And all of a sudden, she heard this loud bang as she was waking up. And even after she was awake, it resonated throughout the house. And so she thought something must have fallen over or something like that. So she gets out of bed and goes down the hallway. Nothing wrong. And as she was coming back to the bedroom, here was her mother standing in the hallway. And her mother says, "Look at me, Beth, I'm a friggin' angel." So this is a case where the lucid dream, it was not only a dream where there was this meeting between the two in a beautiful setting, but where the dream actually continued into life. And so I'll be talking about not only dreams like that, but I'll be talking about one that I had in a series that I had with my wife. My wife has dementia, and she's gotten into the very later stages of dementia. She can't speak, she can't talk. It started with a dream that I've shared a couple of times about love. I had when she started getting into the later stages of dementia, I got really depressed and stressed because I had no idea how to deal with this. And so I went to bed one night with this almost like prayer on my head that said, show me a way, or show me what I need to get through this situation. And so I went to bed that night and had this lucid dream where I was in a shipyard with rusty boats and things like that. And all of a sudden I realized that I was dreaming. So for those of us who've had the experience of the wisdom behind the dream, it's a higher wisdom that's there, and then you can actually turn and dialogue with it and get answers. So I turned into this wisdom, which I considered somewhat of a divine wisdom. And I said, what do I need to get through this situation? And all of a sudden I was whooshed up into this universe of blue crystalline light. And I felt like I was, even though I felt like I was still myself, I felt like one with the whole universe, and it was a kind of intelligent divine universe. And I looked through up my hands and my arms, and I could see right through them. I could see that I was a part of it. And the bliss became so intense. It was like nothing I could have ever imagined you could feel like. And then I began to fade away, like forget who I was or why I was there. And then all of a sudden I snapped out of it and said, I don't mean to be rude, but you never answered my question. What do I need to get through this situation? And all of a sudden, these little hearts started floating around in the blue crystalline universe and formed this giant red heart. And all the time there was this celestial music playing, but all of a sudden I could hear a tune, and this tune raised in volume, and it was the Beatles singing "All You Need Is Love." And so it was, and I understood right then that is all you can do in this sort of situation. If you well, and what it did is gave me the understanding of what true love was. Because from that point on, none of the caretaking became a chore. It became all joy. And that was totally unexpected. But then one of the rest of the adventure that I'll be talking about during this conference is going to be what happened then. All of a sudden, this almost angel-like caregiver was sent my way that has caused all the stress to go away. Just a couple hours a day, that kind of thing. And I didn't even try; they were just introduced to me, so that helped. But then the love connection brought a series of lucid dreams, and I'll just tell you a couple of them. The first one was very much like, "Hey, Beth, I'm a friggin' angel," because I was dreaming along in a dream which was lucid, but I don't remember all the context of it or anything. But as I woke up, there was Lynn, 30 years younger, completely solid, standing in front of the window. And she looked at me and she says, "Let's go." And I understood telepathically at that moment, her spirit had basically begun to leave the body. Even if she was not dying, she was in dementia. And she was on an adventure and she wanted me to go with her. And this led to a whole series of those sorts of dreams where about every couple of weeks, I would have a dream where I would meet her on the other side. And we'd have a wonderful time. And until eventually she continued to want me to go with her. And at one point, I basically said, "Look, I'm still alive. I can't do it." And it caused such extreme alarm. Her whole face morphed into this horror that I couldn't go with her. And I suddenly realized what was going on. She saw me as another spirit. She didn't see me as just me out of my body. And she couldn't understand why I wouldn't go with her. And so, and then I finally incubated some lucid dreams to help try to resolve that. But that's a lot of how I'm going to end the talk. It's a beautiful story, it's one I never expected could happen. But actually, it was Ed Kellogg put me onto a book called uh, the uh, the Book of Death. It sounds terrible, but it was all about people with Alzheimer's that really do kind of exist between these two worlds. It was an interesting theory, but I never expected to actually experience it.
Wow, that's really, really touching. And I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense. Your love for her is very visible, and that, love is something that transcends dimensions. And I think that's helping her, in these end of life stages. So I think that's a really beautiful thing. And I'm looking forward to hearing it in more detail during your presentation.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. How long have you been a lucid dreamer? Do you remember your first few lucid dreams?
Yeah, when I was a kid, what got me so used to or into dreaming at the time, and I was constantly discussing it, was the fact that most of my dreams were lucid or semi-lucid, and I thought everybody dreamed that way. But they were so exciting that it was a great interest. But when I really uh, discovered the power of it was a particular dream. I think I shared it. I did. I shared it at one of the last lucid dreaming conferences. Was I was out in the front of the house, and this huge storm was coming, and I was there with my friends, and they all ran away, and I couldn't run. My legs were like lead. I couldn't get away from the storm. And this dream repeated itself over and over and over again. And finally, one night, um, I realized, hey, I've dreamt this before. This is just a dream. So I turned around to the storm. And as I did, it changed into this beautiful, colorful storm full of beautiful light and color, and was no longer threatening. And from that time on, whenever I'd have a recurrence of the storm dream, I would turn around with excitement and I would make it do things. I'd say, "Oh, let's let it go over here and tear out these houses," and it just became fun. So I realized then that I actually had a degree of influence over the dreams. And from then on, yeah, the lucid dreams came periodically, but less and less as I got older. Now they're a little bit more frequent because of my interest.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you've been a lucid dreamer for so long. It seems like you're very powerful and experienced with your dream skills. So that's awesome. I'm sure that people are going to get a lot out of your presentation. But maybe one more thing before we go. Do you have
Okay.
any piece of advice for new lucid dreamers?
Absolutely. The most valuable thing I have found from lucid dreaming has to do with recognizing that there is this wisdom behind the dream. And it's the same wisdom that flows through all of our dreams, but this in a lucid dream, you actually can connect with it, just like I did by asking a question. Using an emotionally charged, open-ended question works best. Um, and it will provide an answer. In this case, the answer was quite literal. Sometimes it's metaphoric, but it's like an example. The wisdom will take you through an example of what to do, and it's wonderful because you know now that you have this source of wisdom that you can actually use to guide your life. It's always there guiding your life in other dreams, but now you can directly interact with it and get this sort of guidance. And what I'd never understood before is it can take you to these other dimensions where you can actually make connections with other spirits and other souls of loved ones.
Yes, that's a very healing and important message. And I can attest to that too. It's like a life hack. I'm constantly getting advice from my dreams and using it to help me through situations. So I've definitely experienced that.
So you've actually asked the wisdom these questions and get yeah.
Yes, definitely. Whether it's like a scenario in life that I'm dealing with, or a conflict with someone, or even a decision that I need to make, I ask the dream and it always shows me in interesting ways, usually some
Yeah,
sort
it,
of
it is
puzzle.
the beautiful thing about in way I sometimes consider it almost a divine wisdom, even though we don't know the total source of it, is that it's always there to be helpful. The answers it gives are always very healthy, and it's extremely helpful to the persons. And to me, they're profound. They're amazing things I would never expect. I could never even think of myself. Like all you need is love. I mean, that seems obvious, but it is not.
I know
And
it
the
always
other
seems
part
simple.
about it, what I found is it was not only this advice that I was given, but the dream itself transformed me. Because I was not, I'm a control freak, and I'm not the kind of person that really could understand how to apply love, the true word love, to the situation. But after that dream it just happened, and it completely, totally transformed and changed me. So this wisdom, that's the true value of lucid dreaming to me.
Yeah, it really is profound and life changing. And it seems so simple, but we all have this ability. And yeah, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much, Bob. I'm excited to just keep getting to know you, and I'll see you on the Zoom hallways and at the many worlds of lucid dreaming.
Okay, well, thank you so much.